Cindy here from the Post and Rail, and I'm just going to make today for you a warm couscous salad that's got preserved lemon in it, which I showed you in the last video. So if you're wondering what to do with preserved lemons, and they're so easy to make, just 2 ingredients, lemons and salt, but it's what you do with it. This is a really good recipe. Now I've always got a cheats way to do something, or a quick way, or an easy way, or a way that I can just do it for large quantities and quickly. That's my experience. This is one of the smallest batches I've ever made, but the quantities will be fine. This is never as much a recipe as what you've got at hand. So I've got spring onion, I've got mint, I've got pepitas, almonds, I've got dried figs, preserved lemon, and couscous. But you could swap out a lot of these for your favourite herbs or your favourite nuts or your favourite dried fruit. It could be currants, it could be apricots. Anyway, here's the first start. We've got couscous here. Now I don't measure. It really kills me to say this to you, and I'm sorry. But this is for a certain amount. So whatever I've got volume-wise in here, I'm just going to do double that of hot water over the top. So first you put the couscous in a bowl. Now I'm using the same bowl that I'm going to serve this in, because why waste a dish? I'm also going to put about 2 tablespoons of olive oil on top and a teaspoon of salt. Now if you don't do the salt, it is going to taste like nothing. And then I'm going to put the same amount. This is me measuring for you. I hope you appreciate this. This is really hard for me to do this. So that's 1 lot. And 2 lots of the same thing. Now that's boiling water straight from the kettle. And then I'm just going to have a little argument with this plastic wrap. Seal that up. And in about 3 or 4 minutes, that will have absorbed all of the hot water, and the oil will make it so the grains stay separate, the salt will flavour it, and this is our basically our base for the recipe. Now this could be quinoa, you could swap it for cooked lentils or chickpeas. It's whatever the kind of base, I guess the bulk filler, I suppose you could think of it like that. And in no time at all, that will have absorbed all of the boiling water and be cooked, and then it can be ready to mix through with all of these other delicious things. So let's get stuck into that. Here we go, time for some chopping. My favourite part is when we get the knife. Here we go, spring onions. I love the oniony flavour, and I'm going to put the whole thing in, greens and the whites, the whole lot. But because I don't want to chop all the way along here, I'll just pick the little dried ends off. Just pick them from the garden. I like to chop, arrange, chop, arrange. There we go. So I'm just doing 1 lot of chopping. There we go. Just in rounds at this stage. This is going to give us lovely zinginess. Oh, I'm shaking the camera. I'm sorry. I chop with vigour. Let me do it gently. Alright, just get it over and done with. That's much more my speed. Here for a good time, not a long time. There we go. That's the spring onions. Done. Now I've got some mint. Whenever I'm picking herbs from the garden, I do like to rinse them under the tap just to get any dirt off them or any bugs. Every now and then you get a bit of a crunchy bit you don't really need, so it's always good to give them a wash first, just in case. So that mint's going to give such a lovely vibrancy. So that's perfect. We've got mint, we've got spring onion, we've got the main ingredient. Well, I guess it's the smallest amount of ingredient, but it's the punch of flavour that we need. So here's this preserved lemon. Now, if you haven't checked out my how-to on 2 ingredient preserved lemon, go and check it out. It's super easy. And I've just removed the flesh, because we don't want the flesh, we just want the rind. And this one here, because this is such a ridiculously small serve that I've never made this smaller batch before. This is great for making for a crowd, by the way. You can do great big tubs of it, and it looks amazing, and it's nice to get a different salad instead of just potato salad or coleslaw. So this gets stripped thinly. Now I don't wash it, there's plenty of flavour on here, but too much to get a gob full of it, so you need to dice it as small as you can. No one wants a gob full of this, but in the small dice, it lifts anything that it goes into in such a way. There we go. That's as patiently small amount as I can do. And I'm happy to just pile all of these up. That's fine. Also, I want to toast the almonds and the pepitas, the pumpkin seeds. So I'll do that in a minute, but while I'm chopping and making a mess, I might as well get into some dried fruit. So I'm going to do some figs here. And we're all in classic Moroccan flavours. So now these also get diced. So whenever I'm doing something that's got a small grain with it, whether it's rice or lentils or chickpeas or the couscous, which is really small, I really like to have tiny bits so that every mouthful has got like a beautifully mixed range of flavours. It's just a personal thing, but if I'm having something with a small grain, I like everything to be chopped similarly small. That's going to provide that sort of sticky sweetness, as will these currants. No, that's the couscous packet. It's not the currants. Now I've got about equal quantities in there of flaked almonds and pepitas. And I'm just going to toast them till I get a bit of colour on them. And that's going to really bring out the flavours. So I'm going for the crunchy, nutty flavours, the sweet and sour of the dried fruit, the zinginess of the preserved lemon and the spring onion, plus the couscous, which is kind of the grain or the guts of the salad. And by the time you do those sort of flavours, you'll actually end up with something absolutely stunning and something that you'll want to make again and again. And don't forget, we put a bit of healthy zing in here. So whenever I'm eating and tasting something, I always love it when that mouth gets that lovely flavour that's heavenly. It's got sweet, it's got sour, it's got salty, and it's got, I like a bit of spice too, but that's everyone's cup of tea. Not everyone's cup of tea, but so I'm always looking for that completed flavour, and this is a great way of doing it. So I'm just going to toast these up. So I've managed to get a bit of colour on these almonds and pepitas here, and what I'm trying to go for is get that little bit of burnished brown. So I'll bring it up closer. Don't be afraid of getting some burnished bits on there. And that's going to be absolutely delicious and it smells so good. So in the time it's taken for me to brown those nuts and pepitas, this here has fluffed up, it's absorbed the water, and because of the olive oil, it hasn't stuck together, nice and fluffy. So this is when we go in with all the things that we've chopped. That's how easy this recipe is. We should be right for salt because we've added that flat teaspoon of salt to that mix, which was a cup, by the way. It was a cup of couscous. So I'm just going to add everything on top, and then I'm going to add all of this. I found some currants, so it's approximately 3 big spring onions chopped up, a quarter of a preserved lemon, 4 dried figs, and 2 tablespoons of currants. If you like measuring, then that's what it is. But I'm still going to taste this and then adjust yet. So don't get too excited about exact quantities. It's more of a taste as you go kind of thing. All right, that is looking gorgeous. I'm just going to stir everything. Make sure that preserved lemon gets stirred through. Ooh, if you've got a gob full of that, you'd know about it. This is looking and smelling so good, and I'm getting it everywhere, which means it's going to be delicious. As my mum says, the good cooks are the messy cooks, so obviously this is extra good. Go. Now, excitingly, I want to taste it. Let's get a taste. salty enough, it's sweet enough, but it's not sour enough. That means another 1/4 of a lemon. Ripper. I really want that zing. I'm shaking. Do it again. That ticks all my boxes. Now, to clean up this bowl, I'm going to give you a little hint. To clean up the bowl, because I've made it in this serving bowl, obviously it's not it's not ready to serve. So just what I do is just run a little very clean cloth, or I like paper towel or a napkin, just to tidy up the edges, ready for presentation. And there you have it. Warm couscous salad. A warm couscous salad with preserved lemon, and that is absolutely stunning. Serve that with grilled lamb chops, something Moroccan chickeny, gosh, anything that would go with, in a wrap with other delicious things would also be stunning. But it's just a good, easy, and to be honest, it's mostly cupboard staples. So I hope you give this a go. Excuse my semi-non-measuring, but hopefully you get the gist of how to create it. And that time-saving tip of twice the water to the couscous means you can do 8 cups of couscous and 16 cups of boiling hot water. You can make it as big as you want.